Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Business Innovators Radio. I am your host, Ralph Brogdon, and I'm here today with Kathryn Calhoun. Kathryn is an entrepreneur coach who helps her clients overcome the techie stuff. You know what that is, right? She helps people monetize their businesses quickly in just days or weeks instead of months or years by helping them overcome that techie stuff. Now, she's a wife, a mom to a 3-year-old and 6-month-old girls. As the breadwinner in her family, Kathryn is living proof that running a thriving online business is not only fulfilling, but also the gateway to what you want most in life: travel, family time, or anything else you can dream of. So, Kathryn Calhoun, welcome to Business Innovators Radio.
Thank you, Ralph. I'm grateful to be here. I love your show.
Well, thank you. And it is really cool to connect with you. And I've just been on your website looking at all of the very nicely done things that you offer and the neat content. Very nicely done, very well put together. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do for people. How do you help people overcome the techie stuff?
Sure. Thank you for the kind words, first of all. And yeah, as you mentioned, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner. I help clients. But really for me, the family comes first. And that, I think, being a mother and being a wife is really at the core of who I am. And what I really wanted to do for myself was design a business that suited the lifestyle that I was looking for. I was raised by a stay-at-home mom, and I wanted that for my kids too. And there's lots of amazing ways to raise children. That was something that I always really wanted for myself, and my husband was kind of on the same page about that. So we always sort of set out to grow a business that really supported what we were up to, so that we weren't, constantly having to be out of the house, not able to, travel because we were locked into vacation days, that kind of thing. And, as far as how I help people, the techie stuff is so interesting because, for me, I'm kind of a nerd. I've loved computers. When I was in high school in the 90s, and back then it actually wasn't really cool to know stuff about computers. So I kind of was born just a little bit too early, but
I can relate to that.
Yeah, but so I was kind of like this closet nerd. I had my life with my friends, my social life at school, and then I also was really fascinated by computers and learning about the internet and all of those things. And it's interesting, when I started working with entrepreneurs, I thought, I really want to make sure that I'm serving people in the right way. And so I was asking them, what do you struggle with the most as far as the online aspect of your business? Whether you're exclusively online, or maybe you're in the healthcare field, maybe you're a chiropractor, for example, with a brick and mortar practice, but you have maybe an internet side to your business as well, a website or what have you. And I would ask people, what's your hang up around this? What do you really struggle with? And I was kind of expecting people to say, oh, I just don't really understand this, or I don't have time for this. And what actually came back was really surprising to me. What people were saying was, I thought I was a smart person, but I feel like an idiot, or, I don't think, maybe I'm too stupid to be doing this kind of stuff. And it was actually really, it was shocking to me, because it was actually people were feeling very demoralized by this aspect to their businesses. And it's not that if you can't figure it out, it's not because you're stupid. It's because you were never taught it, and everything is evolving so quickly. And if it's if that's not your area of expertise, it doesn't make sense for you to focus all of your time, effort, and energy on learning that stuff, because it is overwhelming. There is a lot to know. And so that was when I really started to connect with how my love for like the techie stuff was, it was connected to a bigger mission for me, which was just helping entrepreneurs to really, step into their full potential with their businesses. Using the internet, leveraging technology as a piece of the business without it, crushing their spirits.
I really like that. A couple of things you said really resonated with me. The first is that you designed your business around your life. And that's really one of my pet peeves. And what I try to communicate to people is something Michael Gerber says. And I think I quote Michael Gerber in almost every interview because I keep hearing the same wisdom coming forth. He says, the purpose of a business is to give you more life. But if your business is not designed to give you more life, it will do the opposite. It will take the life you've got.
So true.
So very good. You designed the business around the life that you wanted instead of just kind of jumping into something and getting overwhelmed, which is worse than having a job, in my opinion.
It is. What's the expression? Something entrepreneurs are the only people who will leave a 40-hour-a-week job to work 60 hours a week.
Reminds me of something Dan Kennedy talked about where the government investigated a small business owner and said something along the lines of, we hear you have someone here that's working 80 hours a week for nothing but beer and pizza, and he never gets any sleep. He says, and I'm sorry to say I'm the owner and it's me. I'm the one treating myself like that. The other thing I like about what you did is you asked for feedback. And so many people, their business is all about them and what they want to do, and they never even ask. And so you were able to find a really neat niche of helping people overcome the tech stuff, which is something you enjoy doing, but something other people are intimidated by. So that's really cool. I like the way you had intention with what you set forth to do.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this. In the people that you work with, entrepreneurs, what is the biggest problem you see when you're trying to help them overcome that techie stuff? What is the main thing that holds them back and keeps them from really overcoming that?
I'm so glad you're asking that question, Ralph, because really, I think people are in this place now where they're recognizing that having an online presence and doing what you can to get clients online is an important part of growing your business as much as you want to grow it. But the problem is there's so much that we feel like we have to be doing. There's social media, there's Facebook, and do I need to be making YouTube videos? And I have to be active on Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and all there's like 24 social media networks. Or, they feel like they need to be building an online course, or maybe they need to be blogging all the time, or maybe they need to figure out how to get their website up and running. There's all of these different things that they feel like they need to be doing. And solo entrepreneurs are often plagued the most by this, feeling like they need to do everything. And what ends up happening is that's where that negative self-talk starts to creep in. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a failure. That's where that starts to happen, because we're working so hard to get results, and it's just not working. And that can be really, really discouraging. And there's a book that came out a little while ago by Greg McKeown called Essentialism. I'm sure lots of your listeners have heard of it. There's something in his book. He calls it an energy diagram. And I know we're on radio, so I'll describe it hopefully well. But basically, he's got 2 circles on the page, and inside of each of those circles is the word energy. And in the diagram on the left, there's this circle of energy with maybe 20 different tiny little arrows coming out of it. So it kind of looks like a sun, right? It's just like all these little arrows, you're radiating energy out in all of these different directions, doing all of these different things. And in the right-hand energy circle, there's just one long arrow. And what it's really representing is, I've got this fixed amount of energy in any given day. And I can either spend that energy on pulling myself in a million different directions, trying to get my business off the ground or trying to take it to the next level, or I can spend my energy in one focused, deliberate, intentional direction and get the result that I really want.
That you're right. That really is the biggest problem, I think, particularly for entrepreneurs who have 100 different ideas going on at the same time, and they've got 36 half-finished projects.
That's right.
And so it's really tough. When people work with you, what do you do right off the bat to try to get them focused and get them to at least begin to make some improvement in this area?
Yeah. Well, the first thing really, and people who are real doers sometimes don't like to hear this, but what I really love to do with people is start with the goal, start with the overarching goal, and then reverse engineer the process from there. So it's really about starting with asking yourself, what do I want? What outcome do I want from my business? Maybe is it 3 more clients? Is it a different way to generate leads? Is it a certain income level? Like, what is it? Is it less time at the office? Like, what is it that I want? And then look at this to-do list that's overwhelming you. Finish my book, write the blogs, be active on social media 20 times a week, like all of those things. Look at that list and say, what are the pieces the to-dos that I have on this long, overwhelming list? What are the pieces that actually support the goal that I want? And I think, especially with the online thing, there's this idea that we have to be doing everything. Everyone's on social media, everybody's blogging, everybody's got a website, whatever. There's this idea that we have to do it all. And the reality is that you absolutely don't have to do it all. So it's like, what is it that you want? And what's on my to-do list that is actually supporting that goal? And if there are things on the to-do list that are not supporting that goal, maybe it's supporting a longer term goal, or maybe it's supporting a goal that's like a slightly different direction for where you're taking your business. It's not that those to-dos are necessarily bad things, but it's important to say, I have a finite amount of energy, and where am I going to focus it on the things that are going to get me to what I want next?
I'm speaking with Kathryn Calhoun. She's an entrepreneur coach who helps her clients overcome the tech stuff so they can monetize their businesses quickly. That leads me to a question. How long is it reasonable to think that you can monetize your business? Is there a certain time frame? Does it all depend? What is your experience with monetization?
I'm so glad you asked me that question. That's actually one of my favorite things to talk about. I have a knack for monetizing my own businesses and those of my clients in 30 days or less. This latest iteration of my entrepreneur coaching, I've been doing this in some form or other for the last 12 plus years. But in this iteration, when I said, okay, I really want to focus on coaching, I've realized people are super overwhelmed by the techie stuff. Now how am I going to get clients into the business? And it took me 6 days from deciding to focus on that. And I don't want to give you the impression that 6 days after I decided to start this business, I was a millionaire and I, quit all my things. And there are lots of coaches, online teaching you how to have a 6 or 7 figure practice, or how to have a 6 or 7 figure business. And though obviously that's wonderful. That's the goal. That's a sustainable amount of income for us to pursue the lifestyle that we want.
Do you think most people want that, or do you think the majority of people are really more after something that is sustainable and manageable, but not something that consumes them 24 hours a day?
That's right. I mean, absolutely. The goal is really, for most people, they define success, whether they've got a dollar amount on it or not. They define success as having, the freedom and the flexibility to spend their time how they want to. So, a lot of people, some people will choose to live in communes or something, that's like that's their success, right? It's off the grid, it's peaceful, all of those things. Everybody defines their specific version of what success looks like to them. But really, I think at the heart of it is the freedom and the flexibility to spend our hours and our days exactly the way that we want to.
And you've mastered that as a business owner and a coach. You're also a wife and you're a mom with small kids. Tell me how that works. So what is your life like on a daily basis, and how did you find the balance between everything?
If we were having this interview 6 months ago, I would have a different story. To be totally candid, the balance is a little bit of a work in progress now that we've got a little one in the house again. But really, it's I spend most of the day with my kids, and then I'm very blessed that they go to bed. They go to bed pretty early, and I put a little bit of time into my business at that time. And that doesn't work for everybody. My mom thinks I'm crazy, but because most people do the reverse, right? They spend their days working and then they spend their evenings with their family. But for me, my older one, she's 3, and her bedtime, I don't know, this is just like her little biological clock, but her bedtime is 6 p.m. And so if I spend the whole day at my computer or like out, networking or in meetings or something, I miss her whole little life. So for me, that doesn't work. So, I really encourage people to figure out what works for them. But for me, it's like the time off is the family time happens during the day, and then the work part happens for a few hours each evening.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I really like the way you've got things organized according to a plan, and it's according to your rhythms. It's not according to social convention or what is typically done, but it's what works for you. And
right.
And that's the freedom that you're talking about. Would you agree that a lot of people right off the bat would say, well, I want to make a lot of money in my business, and that seems to be the apparent goal, but wouldn't you say that it's really more about what they believe the money is going to give them, which is the freedom, the family time, the flexibility, the things that you talked about?
100%. Yeah.
So what are you working on right now, Kathryn, that's got you really excited?
Yeah, I have an event coming up that's running. It's online, of course. It's running online June 1st through 5th, and it's a virtual training event. It's totally free. It's called 30 Days to Your Next 3 Clients: How to Quit Spinning Your Wheels and Start Serving Real Paying Human Beings this month. It's at the start of June, right? So the goal is really for everybody listening to have brought a minimum of 3 new clients into their businesses before June is through. And I have curated a training team of 20, I think it's including me, I think it's 25 experts, all speaking on the topic of what they do to bring in money quickly. So the reality is that, I shared with you that I was able to monetize this business in 5 or 6 days, but what I do is something I'm passionate about, and it might not work for the next person. So this event is really all about just giving you a whole bunch of amazing ideas so that you can really pick and choose what works for you. And it's like I said, it's completely free. And if people are interested in checking it out, the page to sign up is 30days3clients.com, and the 30 and the 3 are numbers. So it's 30. Yeah, the number is 30days3clients.com.
30days3clients.com. And yeah, I mean that headline, that label, the name, the title that you gave us for that training is so awesome. Would you mind sharing that again?
Sure. It's 30 days to your next 3 clients: how to quit spinning your wheels and start serving real paying human people this month.
I love it. Excellent. And you've really got some nice resources available on your website to not only to overcome the techie stuff, but you've got some other good things on there. Just general good business advice and marketing expertise as well.
Thank you for saying that. Actually, the techie stuff is really it's one piece of the puzzle, and really the technology it's there to support a larger business strategy that you have in mind. So I think sometimes people a lot of times people will say things like, "Well, I know I have to do a blog, or I have to hire someone to do my social media, or I have to do my whatever," and it's really I encourage people to see it as they're not separate, right? Your business strategy is you need a business strategy, whether you have an online business, a brick and mortar business, or some kind of combination. But the technology is really there to support that, to augment and up level what you're trying to do in your business. And if it's not doing that, then that's when we need to examine it. And that's why my website speaks to speaks to just general business strategy as well as the techie stuff, because they if you're doing one without the other, or if they're in two completely separate sort of containers in your head, then the success you're going to have with either one is going to be limited.
Yeah, I think the one of the greatest challenges with marketing is the same challenge as with communications. It's integrating all of these different marketing efforts and all of these different messages together into something that is coherent and is like you were talking about with the illustration on focus. If you're saying a lot of different things and you're in a lot of different places kind of half-heartedly, and you're not integrating your efforts, then your energy is diffused, and therefore it's not powerful. But the real power comes from integrating your marketing efforts and energy, integrating your messaging into something that's focused and is very energetic in one direction. Which leads me to a question.
Yes.
As we're dealing with overwhelm, and I really identify with the issue you brought up about overwhelm. People feeling like they've got to be everywhere, they've got to be doing everything. And I mean, I've got a list here of 3 or 4, half a dozen projects I should be doing. Yeah. But then you get so busy working with clients that you don't have time to do your own projects. And so where do we begin? And let's just, because that's a broad area, let's just focus it in on social media. You're working with someone, there's 24 different social media platforms. All the gurus say you need to be here, you need to be there. Oh, here's a brand new one you need to get into. What do you recommend? How do we sort through and filter all of those different options and choose the social media platform or platforms that we need to master?
Sure. Well, the first thing is right off the bat, I'll tell you, you really want to limit yourself to, I love to limit people to one or two. If you just can't stop yourself, I suppose 3, but like I really encourage people to focus on 2 or 1 of those platforms. And the next thing, when you say, okay, I've only got 2 platforms that I'm going to be active on, like you said, I'm not going to be half-hearted in 20 different platforms. I'm going to be active and focused in 2 or in 1. So if that's the limitation, then what we need to do is ask ourselves, where are my prospective clients? The reality is that, my prospective clients are not hanging out on Instagram. So I don't have, I think I may have an Instagram account. I've never updated it. Like I'm not active on Instagram. My ideal clients are on Facebook and they're on LinkedIn. And I would say, for the majority of the people that I work with, small business owners, solopreneurs, online entrepreneurs, that is also the case for them. So if you're not sure where your prospective clients are, you can just do a little Googling and just, do a little recon, spend a bit of time on LinkedIn, spend a bit of time in Facebook, see if you can find groups where your prospective clients are gathering. But I would say like upwards of 90% of the time, those are the 2 groups where you are most likely to have traction.
And I like that. And there's such wisdom in what you're saying, because if I asked that of 99 out of 100 business owners, they would say, well, I think I should be wherever I enjoy being. So if I enjoy Pinterest and I enjoy Instagram, so that's where I should really dominate. Except you're looking at it from your perspective, not from the perspective of your audience. Where is your audience? Where is your market? That's where you need to be, not where you want to be necessarily. But I think if you want to grow your business, you will probably want to be where your most likely prospects are going to be hanging out, and get really good in that space before you branch out into other areas.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, it's true. And, if you are one of those people that says, I'd much rather spend my time on Pinterest or not at all, lots of people just, they can't stand Facebook because it's just like, it's sort of invasive. It's like this invasive thing. But if you're minimizing the amount of time that you're spending on social media, you're really distilling it down to focused tasks that are really serving that goal, whether that's bringing in new clients or what have you, then hopefully you'll be able to look at it as just, it's a task in your business that's serving a purpose that is something that you want. So that's what I say to people when they're like, oh, I really don't want to be on Facebook. I hate Facebook. It's like, okay, well, you hate Facebook, but you're your ideal clients love Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be worth it to you to spend, 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes a day? Because that's really all you need to do, 10 to 20 minutes a day in specific places on Facebook to generate more awareness and more clients for yourself to be able to serve that higher vision that you have.
That's really good and really excellent advice to help us overcome not just the overwhelm that we get from not being able to handle tech stuff, but not being able to handle social media stuff, which is kind of related to tech stuff in
Absolutely.
a way. It's like this big amorphous blob that we're afraid to really enter into. So you've done a really good job of breaking things down into manageable pieces and actionable steps, which is really excellent. How can our listeners find out more about you and your products and services?
Well, my website is at kathryncalhouncoaching.com, and it's spelled a little tricky. It's Kathryn and then calhouncoaching.com. So I'm there. There's all my contact information is available there. And I am super swamped getting ready for this, the 30 days to your next 3 clients event. So if you want to connect with me that way as well, that would be awesome.
Great. And that's 30 days, 3clients.com.
That's right.
All numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. This has been really informative and very motivating. I kind of want to get to work now and start implementing some of these strategies and ideas. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom you'd like to share with our listeners as we wrap up?
Sure. We talked a little bit earlier about choosing the items off your to-do list to focus on the ones, the to-do items that really support your larger goal. And I just want to say, there's going to be things that are on like your curated list, your shorter list, that maybe aren't so much in your wheelhouse or, just feels overwhelming. And what you can do in that case is, think about delegating those tasks. So it's like, am I going to do this myself? You look at your list and you say, for each item, you say, am I going to do this myself? Should I delegate it to somebody else? Should I put it off until, I'm done accomplishing this goal that I'm focusing on now? Or is this something that's a waste of my time? And should I just delete it off my list altogether? So it's just like a little bit of a checklist you can kind of take yourself through. There's a productivity expert, colleague of mine, her name is Dr. Sarah Reif-Hecking, and she talks about, she has this amazing quote in a book, actually with I digress, but she says, if I could help you save 1 hour in your week, then that translates to something like 9 40-hour work weeks in a year. And that blew my mind when I read that. And it just really underscored the importance for me of just being so intentional about how you're spending your time and not allowing the technology piece to overwhelm you to the point where you feel like you're failing. If you can do it yourself, if you want to learn how to do it yourself, great. And, but if it's a better use of your time to get someone else in there to support you in that way, then you're able to free yourself up to get out there and do what you do best in your business.
Excellent. Love it. Kathryn Calhoun is an entrepreneur coach. She helps her clients overcome the techie stuff and the social media stuff and all the other stuff that tends to get in the way so that they can monetize their businesses quickly in just days or weeks, not months or years. You can reach out to her at KathrynCalhounCoaching.com or at 30days3clients.com. Kathryn, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate the invitation. It was really my pleasure, Ralph. Thanks very much.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.